everyone, welcome to the channel. This week we are going to do my top 12 of 2022, so get excited for that. Well, we're going to get right in it. I'm just going to go in order from each month, January to December. So starting out, my favorite book in January was Zodiac Academy: The Awakening. This is the first book in the Zodiac Academy series. This is the Bookish Box edition. She is gorgeous. Just take a look. But this is Darcy and this is Tori, and they're the twins. I talked a little bit about the series in my last video, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of read like a short little synopsis for this so that you can have an idea, more of an idea of what it's about. This says, Zodiac Academy is a dark bully MF paranormal romance series which follows twins Tori and Darcy Vega, who find out they're fae and have to learn to harness their power while trying to defend their throne from the four heirs who want to claim it in their place. It's the basic synopsis of the story of the series. It's very good. I just started book 6. I'm liking it a lot so far. Well, I'm a little angry about what's going on, but it's a good angry. So I am excited to see where that goes. So now we're going to go to February. My top book for February was the third Zodiac Academy book, The Reckoning. And this is the one where they kind of have to go through a series of tests to make sure that they're like kind of up to par with their magic and where they should be, and to see if they can stay in the school or not. But this is also the Bookish Box edition. It's very pretty. I love these. For March, my favorite book was Sarah J. Maas's House of Sky and Breath. This is the second book in the Crescent City series. I love this series so much. Bryce is one of my favorite characters. I think she's probably my favorite Sarah J. Maas main like female character. So I love her a lot. Then Hunt, I also adore him so much, and I love all the side characters in this series too, and I like that. All of them get more page time, I guess, in this one, which is really nice. Rune is my favorite. I love him so much. But yeah, and she is a chunk. But I love this book. I'm not gonna really explain this one too much since it is the second in the series, but I will read the synopsis for the first book, so that way if you haven't read it, you can see if you would be interested. Okay, so this is the synopsis. It's a little long, but it says, half fae, half human, Bryce Quinlan loves her life. By day, she works for an antiques dealer selling barely legal magical artifacts. And by night, she parties with her friends, savoring every pleasure Lunathian. I don't really know how to pronounce the city that much, or that well. Otherwise known as Crescent City, has to offer. But it all comes crumbling down when a ruthless murder shakes the very foundations of the city and Bryce's world. 2 years later, her job has become a dead end, and she now seeks only blissful oblivion in the city's most notorious nightclubs. But when the murderer attacks again, Bryce finds herself dragged into the investigation and paired with an infamous fallen angel whose own brutal past haunts his every step. Hunt Athalar, personal assassin for the Archangels, wants nothing to do with Bryce Quinlan, despite being ordered to protect her. She stands for everything he once rebelled against and seems more interested in partying than solving the murder, no matter how close to home it might hit. But Hunt soon realizes there's far more to Bryce than meets the eye, and that he's going to have to find a way to work with her if they want to solve this case. As Bryce and Hunt race to untangle the mystery, they have no way of knowing the threads they tug ripple through the underbelly of the city, across warring continents, and down to the darkest levels of hell, where things that have been sleeping for millennia are beginning to stir. That's what the first one's about, and then the second one just continues on to the story. There's another kind of mystery that happens in the second one, and like I said, some of the side characters come into play more in the second book, which is exciting, and I cannot wait for the third book to come out. So hopefully that is coming out sooner rather than later. My April top book was In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. This is the second book in the Love Light Farms series. I loved this one so much. It was so good. This was more of like a springtime book, but this one follows Beckett And Evie, he works on Love Light Farms. He kind of helps with the like planting of the trees. He takes care of any animals that are on the farm, which most of the animals that are there are because he brought them there. So that's what he kind of does. He does like a lot of the like maintenance stuff. I don't remember his exact job title, but Evie is a social media star. But the synopsis for this one is: Evelyn St. James isn't the kind of woman you forget. Beckett Porter certainly hasn't. One incredible weekend in Maine, and he's officially a man distracted. He's not unfamiliar with hot and heavy flings. He knows how it goes, but Evie wove some sort of magic over him during their tumble in the sheets. He can't stop thinking about her laugh, her hand pressed flat against his chest, her smiling mouth at his neck. Also, her eyes and her legs. So when she suddenly appears on his farm as part of a social media contest, he is confused. He had no idea that the sweet and sexy woman he met at a bar is actually a global phenomenon social media influencer, Evelyn St. James. When she disappears again, Beckett resolves to finally forget her and move on. But Evelyn St. James has a problem. Feeling disconnected from her work and increasingly unhappy, she's trying to find her way back to something real. She returns to the last place she was happy, Love Light Farms and the tiny town of Inglewild. It has absolutely nothing to do with the hot farmer she spent 2 incredible nights with. Nothing at all. In the Weeds is a sweet and steamy second chance romance about finding your happiness. It features a grumpy farmer, a no-nonsense social media influencer, a small town of busybodies, and 4 very cute kittens. So yes, it's super cute. It has some spice in it. I highly recommend. Drink break. My May top book was Undercover Bromance by Lisa K. Adams. This is the second book in the Bromance book club series, which I absolutely love that series a lot. This one is my favorite in the series. I just read Very Merry Bromance for Christmas, and that one is probably my second favorite in the series. I really love that one too. But this one follows Braden Mack and Liv. They kind of have an enemies to lovers type of romance. So I will read you the synopsis for this one. Braden Mack thinks reading romance novels makes him an expert in love, but he'll soon discover that real life is better than fiction. Liv Papa Andres, I don't know, I probably said that very wrong, has a dream as a sous chef at Nashville's hottest restaurant. Too bad the celebrity chef owner is less than charming behind kitchen doors. After she catches him harassing a young hostess, she confronts him and gets fired. Liv vows revenge, but she'll need assistance to take on the powerful chef. Unfortunately, that means turning to Braden Mack. When Liv's blackballed from the restaurant scene, the charismatic nightclub entrepreneur offers to help expose her ex-boss, but she is suspicious of his motives. He'll need to call in reinforcements, the Bromance Book Club. Inspired by the romantic suspense novel they are reading, the book club assists Liv in setting up a sting operation to take down the chef, but they're just as eager to help Mac figure out the way to Liv's heart, even though she's determined to squelch the sparks between them before she gets burned. It's so good. I love it. And I love that this series takes place in Nashville because that's where I'm from. So it's really cool to kind of read about some of the familiar areas that I know. So there's that one. My book for June is An Offer from a Gentleman by Julia Quinn. That's the 3rd Bridgerton book. I don't have a physical copy, so I'll just like put a picture of it up here for you to see. But here's the synopsis. Sophie Beckett never dreamed she'd be able to sneak into Lady Bridgerton's famed masquerade ball, or that Prince Charming would be waiting there for her. Though the daughter of an earl, Sophie has been relegated to the role of servant by her disdainful stepmother. But now, spinning in the strong arms of the debonair and devastatingly handsome Benedict Bridgerton, she feels like royalty. Alas, she knows all enchantments must end when the clock strikes midnight. Ever since that magical night, a radiant vision in silver has blinded Benedict to the attractions of any other, except perhaps the alluring and oddly familiar beauty dressed in housemaid's garb, whom he feels compelled to rescue from a most disagreeable situation. He has sworn to find and wed his mystery miss, but this breathtaking maid makes him weak with wanting her. Yet, if he offers her his heart, will Benedict sacrifice his only chance for a fairy tale love? It's like a Cinderella retelling. I loved it a whole lot. Benedict is probably my favorite of the Bridgerton siblings, and his book has been my favorite so far. I just finished Francesca's book and I really liked that one. I'm looking forward to his season a lot. I know next season of the TV show is going to be Penelope and Colin. I'm looking forward to that one, but I will say I love book Colin, but I don't so much love TV show Colin. So I'm hoping he gets better in this next season, but we shall see. I do love Penelope though in the book and in the show. July's top book was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I absolutely loved this entire series. It was probably one of my top series from last year that I read all of. This one is a YA mystery thriller that follows Pip, she's the main character, and Ravi ends up helping her. So the synopsis for this one says, everyone in Fairview knows the story. Pretty unpopular high school senior Andy Bell was murdered by her boyfriend, Sal Singh, who then killed himself. It was all anyone could talk about, and 5 years later, Pip sees how the tragedy still haunts her town. But she can't shake the feeling that there was more to the story. She knew Sal when she was a child, and he was always so kind to her. How could he possibly have been a killer? Now a senior herself, Pip decides to re-examine the closed case for her final project. At first, just to cast doubt on the original investigation, but soon she discovers a trail of dark secrets that might actually prove Sal innocent, and the line between past and present begins to blur. Someone in Fairview doesn't want Pip digging around for answers, and now her own life might be in danger. Says this is the story of an investigation turned obsession, full of twists and turns with an ending you'll never expect. Trust me, you don't really expect the ending. The series had me guessing at every turn. It was amazing. I loved it so much. August top book was Tools of Engagement by Tessa Bailey. This is the third book in the Hot and Hammered series. I loved this one so much. So this one is about Bethany and Wes, and it's an age gap romance. Bethany is older than Wes. It says when two enemies team up to flip a house, the sparks between them will either burn the place down or ignite a passion they can't resist. Hair, makeup, clothing, decor. Everything in Bethany Castle's world is organized, planned, and styled to perfection. The homes she designs for her family's real estate business are the most coveted in town. The only thing not perfect, her track record with men. So she's on a dating hiatus, and now she finally has time to focus on her dream. Flip a house from framework to furnishings, all by herself, except her older brother runs the company and won't take her seriously. When a TV producer gets wind of the castle sibling rivalry, they're invited on Flip Off, a competition to see who can do the best renovation. Bethany wants bragging rights, but she needs a crew, and the only member of her brother's construction team willing to jump ship is Wes Daniels, the new guy in town. However, Wes's Texas drawl and handsome face got under Bethany's skin on day one, and the last thing she needs is some cocky young cowboy in her way. As the race to renovate heats up, Wes and Bethany are forced into close quarters, trading barbs and biting banter as they remodel the ugliest house on the block. It's a labor of love, hate, and everything in between, and soon sparks are flying. Bethany's perfectly structured life is one kiss away from going up in smoke, and she knows falling for a guy like Wes would be a flipping disaster. It's so good. It's Tessa Bailey. It's spicy. I loved it. That's all I can say. September's book was Glow by Raven Kennedy. This is the fourth book in the Plated Prisoner series. It's King Midas retelling, but this is the bookish box edition. Right here, it has all the gold. That's Commander Rip. Right, here's the synopsis for that series. The Fae abandoned this world to us, and the ones with power rule. Gold. Gold floors, gold walls, gold furniture, gold clothes. In Highbell, in the castle built into the frozen mountains, everything is made of gold. Even me. King Midas rescued me, dug me out of the slums, and placed me on a pedestal. I'm called his precious, his favored. I'm the woman he gold touched, to show everyone that I belong to him, to show how powerful he is. He gave me protection, and I gave him my heart. And even though I don't leave the confines of the palace, I'm safe. Until war comes to the kingdom and a deal is struck. Suddenly, my trust is broken, my love is challenged, and I realize that everything I thought I knew about Midas might be wrong. Because these bars I'm kept in, no matter how gilded, are still just a cage. But the monsters on the other side might make me wish I'd never left. But the main character in this book, her name is Arwen. She's been gold touched, so she's completely gold. Midas has her kept in a cage. So that's where it starts. I'm not going to give any away for the rest of the series, but it's very good. Commander Rip comes into play. I love him so much. And October's top book was Not the Witch You Wed by April Asher. I love witchy romances. They're probably my favorite ones. So this one, had to read this one. But the synopsis for this one is: magicless witch Violet Maxwell wants nothing to do with alpha wolf shifter Lincoln Thorne, the man who broke her fragile teenage heart. But when the two of them are forced by arcane supernatural laws to find mates, Violet and Lincoln agree to fake date their way to a fake mating in order to conjure themselves some time. The joke's on them. When old feelings make a reappearance, along with Violet's magic, they both realize there's nothing fake about their feelings. But there are old secrets and looming threats that could snatch away their happily ever after again. One thing's for sure, magic doesn't make dating and love any easier. But it's very good. She has 2 sisters in the book, so I think the author is going to write 2 more books for each of the sisters, so I'm looking forward to that a whole lot. November's book was These Twisted Bonds by Lexi Ryan. This is the second book to These Hollow Vows. It's the first one. It's a duology. It's about Fae. I love it so much. There is a love triangle. Both guys actually aren't that bad, but you definitely root for one guy more than the other. But this is the Fairy Loot edition. It has the leaves, the stenciled edges, and that's the back. I loved this series so much. My camera battery died, so now it's charged, so we can read out the synopsis for These Hollow Vows. Bree hates the Fae and refuses to have anything to do with them, even if that means starving on the street. But when her sister is sold to the sadistic king of the Unseelie court to pay a debt, she'll do whatever it takes to get her back, including making a deal with the king himself to steal 3 magical relics from the Seelie court. Gaining unfettered access to the Seelie court is easier said than done. Bree's only choice is to pose as a potential bride for Prince Ronan, and she soon finds herself falling for him. Unwilling to let her heart distract her, she accepts help from a band of Unseelie misfits with their own secret agenda. As Bree spends time with their mysterious leader Finn, she struggles to resist his seductive charm. Caught between 2 dangerous courts, Bree must decide who to trust with her loyalty and with her heart. That's These Hollow Vows. That's the first book. And it's just a duology, it's just the 2 books, but they're very good. I loved both of them. I'm not a huge fan of love triangles, but the one in this series did not bother me at all. And now for our last top read of the year. For December, it was There's Something About Mary by Cody Hall. This is the second book in this series. The first one was Nick and Noelle's Christmas Playlist. I read that for Christmas in 2021 and I loved it, so I was super excited to get to this one. This one is about Nick's sister Mary. It says, Mary Winters is going to need a whole lot of Christmas cheer to make up for the disaster of a year she's had. Rather than sulk, she decides to funnel all her frustrations into preparing for the most wonderful and busiest time of the year at the Winters Christmas tree farm. Although her family isn't ready to hand over the reins yet, Mary is determined to prove herself as manager material, and a certain flirty outdoorsman on her dating app has been giving her the confidence to do so. What Mary doesn't know is that she's been chatting anonymously with the farm's new foreman, Clark Griffin. The single dad has kept himself out of the dating pool ever since his son's mother left, but the more Mary dedicates herself to the farm, the more Clark falls for her generous heart and jolly spirit. As Clark and Mary catch feelings both online and off, their romantic potential dangles in front of their noses like mistletoe. Love is within their reach, if only they're brave enough to take the first step. It's super cute. I love Christmas romances. They're some of my favorites. This one was adorable. The third book in the series is also available on Audible. I listened to it last month too, and I loved it. Hoping that the paperback comes out next Christmas or this upcoming Christmas, because I will be buying it for sure. So that was my top 12 of 2022. I had a lot of 5 and 4-star reads last year. My rating system, I rate more on like vibes and how much I really enjoyed the book and how it made me feel, more than like being super critical with books. So I usually have a lot of like 4-star reads and a decent amount of 5-star reads. So there's that. If you liked this video, you can like at the bottom. You could also subscribe if you'd like to watch any future videos. I will see everyone in the next video next week. All right, bye guys.